Okay, that's looking good. Okay, that's looking good. Alright, sounds pretty good from that. Alright, so I'm going to share some links, and then we can get started here. Okay. I don't know what that is. Hang on a second. Okay, that link is gonna work much better. And there's one last place I want to share this. Okay, I think that we are good to go now. Alright. Alright, so I think it would be appropriate to get introductions underway. Hello, I am known as Artemu the Violet Wizard, or simply Artemu or Ardo, however you prefer to say that. So, yeah, it's been a while since I've done, like, anything on this channel. So, yeah, things over the last couple of years have been very interesting. I first started this channel and kind of the content on it based on some videos I used to see when I was a preteen and as a teenager. Just around that time, I was really into Bionicle videos that a lot of people were doing, and I kind of wanted to do the same thing myself. So, after getting the proper hardware and software to be able to do that, I started making a lot of content based on some of the things that I saw a lot of other people doing. And it was fun for a time, but my priorities began to shift over to other things, and then I basically stopped doing content for this channel. So, yeah, between schoolwork and some other priorities, that just completely stopped. But in that time, I've also been experimenting with a lot of stuff. Like, I've been doing a lot more artwork, and been definitely improving my art style. I had Two pretty interesting Pokemon comics that I actually managed to complete, which can be found on my DeviantArt. And I'm also working a lot on just some other little things in my spare time. And of course, I've also been playing a lot of games, and that's always been something I've really been into, especially the last couple of years. Been really sinking a lot of time into gaming and playing a lot of different series, a lot of different genres, just really trying to explore a vast quantity of different franchises that I haven't in the past. And it's definitely helped because the landscape of YouTube and especially with sites on Twitch have definitely allowed a lot of people to just make a lot of different content that they kind of felt like they could do and just try to create something that they personally would want to see for themselves. And it's always been something that really inspired me and resonated with me over the last couple of years. So yeah, kind of inspired by some of the people that I was watching online, I decided to give streaming on the platform known as Twitch a try. And for the last, what is it, 7 years now? Yeah, I've been kind of doing a lot of streaming content over there. And it's been pretty fun for the most part. It's got a pretty stable system right now, and especially since I have changed which internet service I've been using lately, streams have been a lot more stable lately. So I've been having a very fun time with the streams over the last couple of months and years. But then very recently it was announced that Twitch was going to implement a new policy where they were going to limit the amount of highlights that someone is able to have on their Twitch account. So they would only allow people to have at maximum 100 hours of content in their on their Twitch account. And as someone who's sunk a lot of time onto that platform and who has nearly 500 hours of content that he has actually put onto that site, yeah, that really stung me in a certain way. And I ultimately decided that I was going to jump ship away from Twitch and then move on to streaming here on YouTube. So I felt like it would probably be a lot better in a lot of respects. There's certainly a lot more people on YouTube, but that also tends to attract a lot more of an unpleasant crowd, I want to say, compared to how things are on Twitch. But I'm sure as things go, we'll definitely try to find our audience and then hopefully have a pretty fun time here. But yeah, I've definitely been streaming a lot over on Twitch, and I was actually in the middle of working on a Spyro 2 stream series before the whole thing went down on that site. So I definitely have a few projects that are left unfinished on that site, and I definitely like to return to some of the stuff that I was working on over there, and I would very much like to eventually get around to uploading all of the highlights from all of the streams that I have done over here on my YouTube channel. Because, yeah, I managed to save all of the highlights I had made of like all of the different streams that I have done over the years. And thankfully, I have all that saved on a hard drive, so we'll be able to take care of that in the next coming months. So yeah, in order to kind of ease us back into doing streaming content, because I've taken a sizable break from that over the last month or so, I thought we would start with something a little simple, something that is very familiar to me, and especially familiar to the stuff that I was doing on my Twitch channel. Now, obviously, I said back then that I was going to hold off on doing more Pokemon streams until a little later, because I had just got done a stream based on Pokemon Black, and that was really fun. I really enjoyed the work that I put into that series. And I've also streamed at least one game from each of the major generations from Generation 1 to Generation 5. So it's definitely a lot of stuff that will eventually be putting here onto the channel based on those games. But for now, I thought we would just kind of ease ourselves back into streaming on this platform with something I've wanted to do for quite a while. So I think it is time that we just stop chatting here, because it's been over 10 minutes I've been prepping this whole thing up. But yeah, what I want to do now is we are going to get into this adventure, one I've been really excited about doing for quite a while now. So just bear with me as we get everything ready here. Nito! Gengar! Nito! So, welcome to our debut to YouTube streaming here. We are playing Pokémon FireRed. But this is not just any run of Pokémon FireRed here, because we had previously streamed Pokémon Leaf Green so many years ago on my Twitch channel. So, in order to spice things up, we are doing a challenge run. Specifically, this is going to be what's known as a Nuzlocke run. It's a special kind of challenge run within the Pokemon community that has definitely risen in popularity over the last couple of years due to certain content creators that I follow. And this will definitely be an interesting run of this game, since I have done quite a number of these challenge runs in the past. So, hopefully we're going to have a good time of this, and oh man, I'm just really excited to finally get started on this. Let us just dive right in. Alright, the game's a little quiet, so I'm going to try to up our... just kind of adjust our settings here in a bit. Obviously, when you first load up this game, it will give you a bunch of tutorials on all of the different controls, because that's kind of how things were back with FireRed and Leaf Green. Obviously, this is the Game Boy Advance remakes of the original Pokemon Red and Blue that first started this whole adventure off. And we'll definitely see a lot of familiar things as we are going through this. Hello there! Glad to meet you! Welcome to the world of Pokemon! My name is Oak. People affectionately refer to me as the Pokemon Professor. This world is inhabited far and wide by creatures called Pokemon. Just ignore the fact that there is a bay leaf in front of him. Just don't worry about that. For some people, Pokemon are pets. Others use them for battling. As for myself, I study Pokemon as a profession. And how's that been working out for you, buddy? But first, tell me a little about yourself. Now tell me, are you a boy? Are you a girl? So in the last time I did Pokemon Leaf Green all those years ago, I of course picked the boy. So I thought I would shake things up by playing as the girl this time. Let's begin with your name. What is it? So of course we have the option to name our character here. And so my real name is actually Hayden, so I thought that I would Actually, it kind of works alright as a gender-neutral name. I typically go with Haley sometimes when I play as a girl in games, but yeah, we can just be Hayden for this one. Why not? Right, so your name is Hayden. That's right. This is my grandson. He's been your rival since you both were babies. What was his name now? Such a forgetful old man doesn't even know the name of his own grandson. Alright, so as is customary, we now have the option of naming our rival. The sky would canonically either be known as green or blue, depending on your version of the game you're playing, based on its localization. He's also known as Gary in the main anime. He also typically goes by Shigeru in a lot of different interpretations. But what are we going to call you? Let's definitely think of some of the people that I have streamed with and also done content with in the past. And there's one person pretty recently who I've been checking out some of their streams they're doing on YouTube. So why not I name you Elijah? After my good friend. Was it Elijah? That's right. That's right, I remember now. His name is Elijah. Hayden, your very own Pokemon legend is about to unfold. A world of dreams and adventures with Pokemon awaits. Let's go! Get shrunken down into a chibi. That's right, we are now officially playing. Hayden played with the NES. Okay, it's time to go. Yep, it's a very retro console. A relic of a long bygone age, because, goddamn, it is already 2025. God, how the time is gone. So, very quickly, I want to adjust some settings here. I'm going to set text speed to fast to move things along. I like to keep the battle scene on. Battle style, which is going to shake things up a lot in this run. I'm putting on set mode. That should increase a lot of the difficulty we're going to see here. And when I will put sound on stereo, because I kind of like that. And of course, we can change our frames here. I'm going to set that to green, because it's a nice little color that will complement a few things we'll be doing. There's not much to do in our room except for accessing our PC, which you definitely want to do. Highly recommend when you're doing a challenge run like this. It's going to withdraw a potion. That is a very important item that will be seeing some use sometime in the near future. Just always grab that, you know? It's a post-it notice. If you're confused, ask for help. Press the L or R buttons. So yeah, nice thing with the Game Boy Advance games. You can press the shoulder buttons on the hardware to be able to access a help system. I kind of forget exactly which were what my current set would make those. Oh. Yep, managed to find it. So yep, just a quick way to be able to access some information on what you're able to do here in this game. But we're not going to need any of that because I am a seasoned veteran of this series. Right, all girls dream of traveling. It said so on TV. Yes, Professor Oak, our next-door neighbor, was looking for you. We'll definitely want to check on that. There's a movie on TV. A girl with her hair in pigtails is walking up a brick road. So there's a kind of a change between the choice of gender that you pick in the game. Because if you're a boy and you examine the TV, it gives a reference to the film Stand By Me, where it mentions 4 boys walking down railroad tracks. If you pick the girl, it gives you that prompt about a girl in pigtails walking down a brick road, which I believe is a reference to The Wizard of Oz, one of my favorite films when I was a kid. I've actually been meaning to rewatch it. I actually have it on DVD. But yep, our adventure is now beginning here in the town of Pallet. We just walk around and talk to anyone we want. Hi, Hayden. My brother Elijah's out at Grandpa's lab. So that is the sister of our rival who we'll be dealing with for this adventure. Pallet Town, shades of your journey await. Is that right? Oh, look. Trainer tips, press start to open the menu. Signs are useful, aren't they? That they are. If you see a sign, you'll definitely want to check it, because they can give you some good information. Technology's incredible! You can now store and recall items and Pokemon as data via PC. Yeah, but you can also trade and battle online. It is just wicked what we're able to do now. Well, we know that the professor's lab is over here in town, so let's go see him. I studied Pokemon as Professor Oak's aide. Oh, so Oak has aides. Good to know. Professor Oak may not look like much, but he's the authority on Pokemon. Many Pokemon trainers hold him in high regard. I studied Pokemon as Professor Oak's aide. Alright, kind of repeating dialogue here. Oh, hey Elijah. What, it's only Hayden? Gramps isn't around? Yeah, but I guess not. So got a couple of things over here we can examine, but nothing we're going to be able to really do. So yep, the professor doesn't look like he's going to be here in the lab, so I guess we'll just mosey along. Nothing else to see in town, so let's head into the grass. Hey, wait! Don't go out! It's unsafe! Wild Pokemon live in tall grass. You need your own Pokemon for your protection. I know. Here, come with me. Alright. I am just going to follow behind you, Mr. Old Man. Gramps, I'm fed up of waiting. Elijah, let me think. Oh, that's right. I told you to come. Just wait. Here, Hayden. There are free Pokemon here. Aha! The Pokemon are held inside these Pokeballs. When I was young, I was a serious Pokemon trainer. But now in my old age, I have only these three left. You can have one. Go on, choose. Hey, Gramps, no fair. What about me? Be patient, Elijah. You can have one too. So now it's time for the most difficult decision in any young Pokemon player's life. We have free choice of Pokemon that we can pick. We can pick either the Grass-type Bulbasaur, the Water-type Squirtle, or the Fire-type Charmander. Any one of these could be good additions in our journey, so we'll briefly talk about the strengths of each of them. So Bulbasaur excels very well in special attacks and is a very strategic Pokemon, getting a lot of status moves that can assist your team in battle, while also being a very good battler itself. And it also has the addition of being a grass poison type, and that dual typing can help it out in a few circumstances, like making it completely immune to poison damage, which is really useful, especially in this challenge run. Squirtle's more of a defensive Pokemon, having high physical and special defense, but still decently well at attacking. It's obviously meant to be more of a tank, being able to soak up hits that other teammates can't, and then dishing out some pretty good damage in return. There's definitely a lot of things that make water types very useful here in the Kanto region, and can easily recommend that for new players. And then there's Charmander. This thing is both one of the trickier Pokemon to use in this game, but also one of the best. It excels in special attack and speed, making it a very fast attacker that can do a lot of damage, since Fire obviously is a very offensive type. It does have some glaring weaknesses that you gotta watch out for. Obviously it has low defenses, but besides that, it is really good against a lot of Pokemon. So, of these free choices, which one are we going to pick on our journey? I've actually given it a lot of thought since I first wanted to start this Nuzlocke run here. And we're gonna go with numero uno, Bulbasaur. You are gonna be our pick here. It's actually pretty funny. The very first Nuzlocke run I ever did, I also picked Bulbasaur, so this one is very fitting. And you also happen to be a boy, so we will be naming you after my very first Nuzlocke starter, Bulbo. What? Ah, damn it, I'm a baby again! How'd this happen? Oh, hey, Bulbo. I'll take this one, then. And Elijah receives the Charmander. Oh, what a surprise! The rival is getting the one that has the type advantage against us. Such a shocker. You're gonna be like this the entire run, aren't you, buddy? Yup. Alright.
My Pokemon looks a lot tougher than yours.
We'll see about that, punk.
Okay, we don't want to start a fight inside the lab now. Wait, Hayden, let's check out our Pokemon. Come on, I'll take you on.
Spoke too soon, didn't you?
Shut it. Alright, so we got ourselves our first trainer battle here. Trainers can use up to 6 Pokemon in battle, and you in turn can have 6 Pokemon of your own. No, for Pete's sake! So pushy as always. Hayden, you've never had a Pokemon battle before, have you? Pokemon battles when trainers pit their Pokemon against each other. The trainer that makes the other trainer's Pokemon faint by lowering their HP to 0 wins. Rather talking about it, you'll learn more from experience. Try battling and see for yourself. Alright, so me and Bulbo here are just kind of gonna go over the basics of battles here. So Pokemon obviously have stats that determine how well they do in battle. So if I were to use a technique like Growl...
Hey, you suck!
Then Bulbo lowered the attack of the opposing Charmander. Lowering the foe's stats will put you at an advantage. So now Charmander's attack stat is lower, so its attacks are going to be doing less damage.
Yeah, how you like that?
And now we're gonna command Bulbo to use Tackle.
Eat this! Ha!
Inflicting damage on the foe is the key to any battle. So yeah, attacks will come in 2 different types. Offensive attacks that deal damage to the opponent, and then status moves which are able to affect a Pokemon's status, lower or raise their stats, among other things.
Are you done?
Alright, just keep going for Tackle then. We weaken this thing, so we should be able to out-damage it. So obviously the goal of any battle is to lower the HP of your opponent. Alright, we're doing pretty good here. Alright, Charmander's in the red. Seems like Bulbo is going to outspeed him, so we're just going to go for the Tackle.
Yeah, eat that!
And for beating a wild Pokemon or a trainer-owned Pokemon, we receive experience points, which can level up your Pokemon, making them stronger.
Oh yeah, feels good to be on top again.
Well, I mean, you still look like a head of cabbage, my guy. Excellent. If you win, you earn prize money, and your Pokemon will grow. Battle other trainers and make your Pokemon strong. Yep, you also receive a cash prize for beating Pokemon trainers, which will be very useful for buying supplies. Okay, I'll make my Pokemon battle to toughen it up. Hayden, Gramps, smell you later.
We're gonna be hearing him say that a lot, aren't we?
Oh, yeah, we will. So now that we're done the battle, how about we examine Bulbo here more closely?
Hey, careful with the undercarriage, punk.
Alright, so Bulbo here has a gentle nature. I think that decreases defense in exchange for increasing special defense. So yeah, Pokemon can have things called natures as of the Generation 3 games, and those determine a Pokemon's stat growth over time. So Bulbo will naturally have higher special defense than a Bulbasaur of a different nature. And Pokemon can also have abilities in the form of Overgrow here, which will increase the damage from Grass-type moves when he is below 1/3 of his health. Though he doesn't actually have any Grass moves here, but, you know, things will get a bit more complex as we go. We're just starting off this adventure here, so we need to take some time to be able to adjust to everything that we are eventually going to be able to experience here, especially with a challenge. Aiden, raise your young Pokemon by making it battle. It has to battle for it to grow.
Hey, who you calling young? God, I swear people of his generation just don't respect anyone else.
Definitely speaking a little close to home there, buddy. Alright, so our main goal here, we're not going to be able to engage with a lot of the main mechanics here, which is namely catching Pokemon to add to our team until a little bit later on in the story. So we're just going to kind of breeze through this first area and try to get to the next town as soon as we can. And pick up anything of note along the way. So of course, leaving town, we're able to wander into routes where you can find NPCs as well as tall grass for encountering Pokemon. Hi, I work at a Pokemon Mart. It's part of a convenient chain selling all sorts of items. Please visit us in Viridian City. I know, I'll give you a sample. Here you go. So that NPC will give us a potion, which is an item we can buy in shops in order to heal our Pokemon of damage. We go over here. See those ledges along the road? It's a bit scary, but you can jump from them. You can get back to Pallet Town quicker that way. Definitely want to remember that. It gives us a easy shortcut back to town without having to go into the tall grass. Meanwhile, we still got a bunch of Pidgeys to deal with. They're standard normal flying type Pokemon. Got pretty low stats overall, but they are pretty quick, and eventually it can actually be pretty fearsome.
Yeah, they're not strong enough to beat me. Bam!
And Bulbul gets another level up by beating that one and learn Leech Seed.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna spread my seed all over this region.
Are we allowed to say that? Like, we're not gonna get demonetized for that, right? Alright, so now we can head into the Pokemon Center, which is definitely something that is important on your Pokemon journey. Welcome to Pokemon Center. Would you like me to heal your Pokemon back to perfect health? Alright, just talk to the nurse and she will restore your Pokemon's health for free. We hope to see you again. Alright, so Bulbo is definitely looking much better than what he was out battling those Pidgeys. Managed to be fully restored. And the Pokemon Centers will also restore the power points, or PP, of your Pokemon's attacks.
PP.
Quiet. Alright, and of course, whenever we visit a new place, you'll want to talk to the locals. Pokemon Centers heal your tired, hurt, or fainted Pokemon and make all Pokemon completely healthy. There's a Pokemon Center in each town ahead. They charge no money, so don't be shy about healing Pokemon. We'll definitely want to keep that in mind.
Please feel free to use that PC in the corner. The receptionist told me so. So kind of her.
We'll be using the PC later on, but for now we're just going to leave that. So we go over this way. Want to know about the two kinds of Caterpillar Pokemon?
I mean, there are only two at this point in the series.
Caterpie has no poison, but Weedle does. Watch your Pokemon aren't stabbed by Weedle's poison sting.
I'm not too worried about that. I already got poison in my veins.
Hey, it came from Pallet Town. You know Professor Oak, right? His order came in. Can I get you to take it to him? So yeah, this is a quest important thing we are able to do. Gotta go to the store to pick up this parcel to move on the story. I gotta buy some potions. You never know when your Pokemon need quick healing. I already got a few, but we'll definitely want to stock up for the road ahead. Well, we can't actually get anything from this guy for now. Also just want to kind of look around the town a bit for one special reason. This guy's blocking the road over here.
I absolutely forbid you from going through here. This is private property.
So, fun fact, in the Japanese localization, this guy isn't just lazy, he's drunk. Oh, Grandpa, don't be so mean. I'm so sorry, he hasn't had his coffee yet.
Hey, if I had the choice, I would definitely be taking the beer over some stinking coffee.
Alright, so now that we got the parcel, we just need to head back to Pallet Town. And we can take the shortcuts via the ledges, which are a one-way obstacle. You can't go up a ledge, but you can go down them.
I can think of some other things I'd like to go down.
Quiet, you. And now that we're back in town, we can give the parcel to Professor Oak, and we can progress, finally. Oh, Hayden, how's my old Pokemon? Well, it seems to be growing more attached to you. You must be talented as a Pokemon trainer. What's that? You have something for me? And with that, delivery mission is done.
Yeah, sorry we may have shaken it a little bit on the way here, but I'm sure it's not fragile.
Ah, it's the custom Pokeball. I had it on order. Thank you. You see, it's special because the top of it's gold and the bottom is silver. It's probably not important for anything. Gramps! I almost forgot. What'd you call me for? Oh, right. I have a request for you, too. On the desk there is my invention, the Pokédex. It automatically records data and Pokemon you've seen or caught. It's a high-tech encyclopedia. Aiden and Elijah, take these with you. And that we received the Pokédex from Professor Oak. You can't get detailed data on Pokemon by just seeing them. You must catch them to obtain complete data. So here are some tools for catching wild Pokemon. And we get 5 Pokeballs, which are tools for catching Pokemon. When a wild Pokemon appears, it's fair game. Just throw a Pokeball at it and try to catch him. This won't always work, however. A healthy Pokemon can escape. You have to be lucky. To make a complete guide on all the Pokemon in the world, that was my dream. But I'm too old. I can't get the job done. So I want you two to fulfill my dream for me. Get moving, you two. This is a great undertaking in Pokemon history. Alright, Gramps, leave it all to me. Hayden, I hate to say it, but you won't be necessary for this. I know I'll borrow a town map from my sis. I'll tell her not to lend you one, Hayden. Haha! Don't bother coming around to my place after this. Oh, we're definitely gonna get all in that. But yep, from this point on, our journey here, as well as the Nuzlocke challenge, can officially begin. But we want to quickly stop in here and talk to Daisy. Grandpa asked you to run an errand. Gee, that's lazy of him. Here, this will help you. And we received the town map, a pretty important item for getting our bearings here in this world. So the setting of Pokémon FireRed is obviously the Kanto region, which is based on an actual area in Japan. So the map just gives you a clear idea of all the different areas we're able to explore. It even shows you the location of dungeons as well as towns. Definitely very nice for keeping track of things around here. So with that taken care of, we now have everything we need to move out of Pallet Town and get started on this journey. Because let me tell you, finishing this game with only Bulbo here is not going to be easy. I could probably take on the Pokemon League with one vine tied behind my back. I appreciate your confidence, buddy, but we're going to need more help. Like this little rat. Sorry, I need to take a sip of lemonade there. Alright, so Rattata here. This is a pure normal type Pokemon. Excels in physical attack and speed. It's kind of low stats compared to most other Pokemon. This one is still pretty good. So we want to catch a Pokemon. It's recommended to lower its HP. And then you throw a Pokeball, which is our main method of being able to capture Pokemon in order to add them to the team. Or to box it forever, I don't know. And once you manage to catch a Pokemon, it gets registered in the Pokédex. Rattata, the mouse Pokemon. Its fangs are long and very sharp. They grow continuously so it gnaws on hard things to whittle them down. Alright, so there's Rattata here. So I don't really have too much of a naming theme compared to some other runs I tend to do. So I thought it would just be nice if we would just try to name you, well, just name all the different Pokemon we're encountering after just whatever comes to mind, or we can receive suggestions from chat as this is progressing. But yeah, right now, how about, I got a name in mind for you. It's kind of a simple name, but I like it. We're gonna call you Whiskers. So I think that's gonna be a very cute name for our little rat here. And hopefully you're gonna be pretty good. Ooh, we got a quirky nature on you. It's pretty good, and you have guts. That is certainly an ability that could be of use to us in the future, depending on how things go. Yep, welcome to the Team Whiskers.
Hi, I hope I'm able to do well. I'm not really one for battles, but if that's going to be what I am asked to do, then I guess I'll try my best.
Ah, great. It's not gonna be hogging all the experience, is she?
Don't worry, Bulbo. We'll definitely get you trained up too. Especially with what's to come. Yeah, if I remember things from the last time we did this shit, yeah, I am definitely going to be really useful in at least the first 2 gyms. Then things are kind of iffy, but, you know, we did all this before. We should be able to win this.
Alright, so now that we have captured this Rattata, it is time that we talk about the main rules of the Nuzlocke challenge, as we are just going back here on Route 1 in order to train up our newest recruit and gain them a few more levels. So the Nuzlocke challenge here, obviously the main rules of this challenge, there are only 2 basic rules that we have to worry about here. The first rule, you can only capture the first Pokemon that you obtain in, well, that you encounter in each area of the game. So because we encountered that Rattata that we caught, that is the only Pokemon that we are able to catch in this area. So theoretically, we cannot capture this Pidgey that we have here. So yeah, that is going to make things pretty interesting for us here. So obviously the point of the Nuzlocke challenge is that it limits the amount of Pokemon we are able to use throughout the adventure, which I feel is a very interesting take on the whole Pokemon format of just not being able to wing it by only picking the strongest Pokemon that you're able to acquire. You have to be strategic, plan out which Pokemon that you are able to get in each area to excel at. Alright, that one got pretty close for comfort, but we're good. And yeah, I just really like how much that rule shakes things up in terms of building your team, because you only have limited options of which Pokemon you are able to catch, and there's no guarantee you're going to get some of the really good ones that you can encounter later on. So you definitely need to be considerate of what you're able to get, as well as just work with what you got, as well as trying to create a balanced team out of the options that you have available. And then, of course, there is the second important rule of the Nuzlocke run, and that is where things are going to get really interesting. The second major rule here, if a Pokemon faints, i.e. its HP reaches 0, it is considered dead, and we are no longer able to use it in this run. Obviously, this is the big rule that really makes these challenges what they are, and not only just adding a lot of challenge to the run, but it also gives a lot of story potential with what you're able to do. Like having a Pokemon that is really, really good suddenly drop dead later on in the game. It can really shake things up for your team dynamic if you were relying on that Pokemon for a lot of battles. And now it's just gone, so now you need to formulate a whole new strategy and train up a whole new team member in order to replace the one you just lost. Yeah, it is definitely a real pain to have to deal with, but that's the point of the challenge, in order to make the game more challenging and to make you be more considerate about your options throughout the adventure. So yeah, what we're doing right now, we're just gonna train up Whiskers on some of the Pokemon here on Route 1. As the Pokemon here tend to not be all that challenging for us at this point, so we'll just strike them down as much as we can, while also just trying to be very careful. So the way experience points work back in these older games is fairly different compared to how things were, well, how things are in the newer games. Instead of all Pokemon receiving experience points in your team, the only Pokemon that receive experience are ones that actually participate in the battle.
So by keeping Whiskers in the front here, she is able to get some of the experience that Bulbo is getting for actually taking out the enemy Pokemon. Conversely, if I were to have Whiskers actually faint an enemy Pokemon, oh boy. I'm not really confident about being able to take you out with that HP, so we're just going to mosey on back to the Pokemon Center. But yeah, like I'm trying to say, if Whiskers is able to take out an enemy Pokemon on her own, then she would get the full experience from whatever enemy we were able to take out, instead of the experience being divided between the participating Pokemon. So that's also something to consider when doing these runs, to try to maximize the amount of experience you're giving to the Pokemon you are using. Of course, nowadays a lot of people, when they do these challenge runs, they tend to hack in items to be able to give themselves the ability to just quickly gain levels on their Pokemon without having to worry about training them. Because accidents can happen when you are on the field here. And that's definitely something to consider. So if you're wondering why I am retreating every couple of hits from wild Pokemon instead of just trying to finish them off with whatever Pokemon I have currently out, it's a good reason for that. Sometimes an attack is able to deal what's known as a critical hit. And a critical hit will deal twice as much damage as the attack normally would do. So obviously getting hit with a critical hit would really put a Pokemon in jeopardy. You do not want that to happen. Okay, I want to try to get this Leech Seed off so we can show this off here. Also, it's a level 4 Pidgey, which is going to give us some better experience than some other ones, while also making it a tougher opponent to battle. But yeah, Leech Seed is a very strategic move for Bulbo here, and one we'll be relying on quite a bit in this run. Leech Seed will passively sap HP from the opponent's Pokemon for every turn that it is out on the field, and then our Pokemon will be able to restore its health based on the damage taken from the opponent. It's definitely a very useful status move, being able to give passive healing to whatever Pokemon you have currently out on the field. It's definitely a good option. Alright, so while we're also dealing with some of the Pokemon here, I also wanted to briefly talk about my history with the Nuzlocke challenge, as obviously this one means a lot to me over the last couple of years. Ooh, I don't like you using Tail Whip on me. And I've also taken a bit of damage here. Let's go for a Leech Seed and see what we can do here. I'm still a little cautious. Okay, it's lowering my defense. I think it would be best if we were to just run, because this thing could really hit hard if we were to stay in here. But yeah, we're probably going to see a couple scenarios like this, where if I feel like the current battle isn't going to favor us, then we'll just have to retreat. Obviously, that will only apply to wild Pokemon, because if we run into a trainer, we have to defeat them to proceed. We cannot run away from trainers. So yeah, that's definitely something to consider as we are going through here. But yeah, I want to talk about my history with the Nuzlocke challenge, because obviously it means a lot to me. So yeah, the first time that I first heard of the Nuzlocke challenge, I was actually browsing around Pokemon fan content on TV Tropes one day at school, and I happened upon the article for the Nuzlocke challenge, and it was pretty interesting when I was just reading through that and then checking out the various comics created by a lot of different content creators about this run at the time, and I just really got a lot of enjoyment from all of the different comics that I read at the time, like by Petty Artist, Hale, Kainem, and a bunch of other content creators. Like, they were just really fun. It's kind of insane to think this challenge started out as a series of crudely drawn comics that were originally uploaded to 4chan, believe it or not. And it suddenly exploded into something that pretty much every Pokemon fan is aware of. But yeah, I had a blast checking out those comics, and then of course, I wanted to take my own crack at it, as I'm a big Pokemon fan, and I have also spent a good deal of my time when I was a kid drawing my own comics, and so I wanted to get some experience of just being able to share the things that I create with others. It's like something I really want to do for a long time. Alright, let's buy a couple potions here, so they can restore 20 HP, which will be pretty useful here. Going forward, we'll probably want to buy some antidotes, as these can cure poison, which is a very nasty status that you definitely want to take care of, especially in these kind of challenge runs. And we'll buy one more Pokeball. Don't have to worry too much about items for now, but do want to be a little conservative with our money for later, so we can buy some better items later on by sticking to only buying a few items at a time. Alright, so like I was saying, I obviously took a crack at creating my own Pokemon Nuzlocke comics. And the game that I, of course, chose for my first run was Pokemon Blue. And it was a pretty interesting challenge. Managed to actually get through the game, but oh boy, the death count was pretty high, because I had 12 fatalities throughout the run. But one of those was against the final boss, you know, so it wasn't too bad, all things considered. Well, now I've had my coffee, and that's what I need to get going. What's that red box you have? Ah, so you're working on your Pokedex. Let me give you a word of advice. Whenever you catch a Pokemon, the Pokedex automatically updates its data. You don't know how to catch a Pokemon? I suppose I better show you then. Alright, this guy's just gonna go through the typical Pokemon catching tutorial. I've already explained how to catch Pokemon, so I don't need to acknowledge anything here. Just be careful about this, old man, because catching a Pokemon here could have dire consequences and summon an entity beyond all comprehension in another area. There, now tell me, that was educational, was it not? And here, take this too. Thanks for the item, buddy. If there's something you don't understand, watch that. We'll teach you about the basics of being a Pokemon trainer. So this is a new item exclusive to FireRed and the Green, the Teachy TV. Simply put, this is a program that gives you tutorials on various aspects of the Pokemon that you're able to just kind of do, especially with battles. But we're not going to worry about that, because it's really not going to be important for this run. Besides, why do we need tutorials? I've been playing these games since I was a kid, and I am 31, so I have a pretty good grasp on our mechanics here. Viridian Gym's doors are locked. It just pushes me down the ledge for no reason. So yep, there are some areas around here that we'll definitely want to visit in every town that we come across. Viridian City Pokemon Gym. This Pokemon Gym's always closed. I wonder who the leader is. I wonder indeed. Perhaps we'll find out later. Okay, Whisker's looking much stronger now, so we should have a pretty decent time against some of the things we'll be able to see going forward. So now, there are two different paths we're able to take here from Viridian City. I want to take this path up here to Route 2. It's going to go up here because we have another chance to add a new Pokemon to our team. So, what are we going to find here? Ah, Pidgey! Alright, this could be pretty good for us. As I said before, Pidgey is a normal flying type Pokemon. Ooh! Damn, Whiskers, you're just really showing how good you can be here, aren't you? Alright, you almost took out that Pidgey, but we are gonna go for the catch here. Oh boy, that was very close. You almost killed the poor thing. But with that, we got Pidgey, the tiny bird Pokemon. It does not like to fight. It hides in tall grass and so on, foraging for food such as small bugs. Alright. And we got an opportunity to name our Pidgey here. It's kind of a shame, somewhat, that we ended up catching a female Pidgey here, because if it was a male, there was a certain name that I would have given to this bird that I felt would be pretty fun. But for you, I feel like acknowledging our very first Nuzlocke run that I ever did, where I had a Pidgey, and we're gonna call you Rosie, after the Pidgey that I had in that run. And you're a gentle nature. Ooh, that explains why you nearly died. 1 HP you were left on. Oh boy. So yeah, Rosie here. You're definitely gonna need some work. You are pretty frail even by Pidgey standards. So we're gonna need to be very careful when training you. How are you holding up, by the way?
I can taste blood.
Alright, we'll get you to the center. We'll get you healed up. Damn, I did not think the rat would be able to hit it that hard.
I have a name.
Yeah, was it like Whiplash or something?
It's Whiskers, but okay.
Alright, we'll get you healed up. How are you feeling, Rosie?
Well,
I think I'm all together now, so
I'm doing fine. Still a little delirious from what just happened, but, you know, still hanging in there.
Alright, Rosie, so we'll definitely need to train you a little bit. You have the ability Keen Eye, which can be pretty useful to us in being able to prevent accuracy drops on you. So we're just going to do a couple of battles to get you trained up to level 5, as I'd like to make sure my team is adequately prepared for some of the things we're going to be doing. And alright, did about 5 damage, so we should be good. Just want to be very careful when we're going up against opponents here to make sure that we aren't risking our Pokemon getting hit by a crit, because that would be really nasty.
Yeah, it's definitely nasty for us.
Okay, so Rattata here, so we'll just freely switch on over to Whiskers so that she can also get some experience here. So alright, we're already starting to form a pretty decent team here. So obviously the heavy hitters right now are going to be Whiskers and Bulbo. Ooh, man. So yeah, that's what I'm talking about with the critical hits. They can just blindside you and just nuke whatever HP a Pokemon has. Alright, this experience is getting spread out. Let's go to take out this rat here. Alright, could you please not with the defense drops? I don't appreciate. Alright, I don't really have much of an idea on how long this is going to go. Back on Twitch, what I would typically do is I would try to have my streams go on for around an hour and a half to 2 hours. And I can see we're just coming up on our first hour here. So we're just going to keep training up our team, and then we'll see what we're able to do very soon. So right now, definitely want to focus on training up our Pokemon here. Oh, Rosie's actually very close to another level up here, so that'll be good. Alright, so while we're just training up our team, what's some other stuff that we can talk about while we are raising up our Pokemon here? Alright, this Pidgey's level 2, should have an easy time taking this one out. Get him, Rosie. Alright, I'll do my best. Alright, so kind of thinking about some other stuff that has been going on recently. So over the last couple of weeks, I have started getting back into Genshin Impact, which has definitely been a game I've been interested in for quite some time, but I dropped it for a couple of years because I wanted to focus on some other games, and only just jumped back into it pretty recently, and oh boy, like all of the different updates the game has gone through since the last time I played it is really something. Like, the last serious time that I spent with the game, I was mostly familiar with the Mondstadt and Liyue sections of the game. I haven't even started the third major chapter of the game, which I believe was the most recent area to be added at that time. But then, oh boy, over the last couple of years, they have really expanded on the game, and we have seen a lot of new areas show up. So, I've steadily been making progress in preparing myself for some of the later challenges that I'm going to be doing. Yeah, it's certainly been pretty interesting. I've already managed to level up my main character to level 80, and I'm already in the process of trying to prepare some other party members to get them up to level 80 as well, so that I can take care of a certain quest in order to raise the level of my world, which is pretty important because that allows us to get better drops from enemies, which in turn will make it better for leveling up our party members. It's obviously pretty good. The way things are, I haven't started the third major area of the game, which is Inazuma, but I have already started to explore Sumeru, which, you know, you can just freely do because it's directly connected to Liyue, and you don't have to worry about doing a side quest to be able to unlock the ability to sail away to an island, you know? So yeah, that has been pretty fun. I've definitely been having a good time just exploring the areas available to me and preparing myself for some of the things that we will be seeing later on. So yeah, it'll definitely be very fun to finally start exploring some areas that I've been meaning to do for a while now, and just be really cool to get to experience, like, a lot more of the game. Like, especially with the new updates, they've also added a lot more playable characters into the game. And I am only making, like, a small dent in the amount of playable characters the game has. Like, I think at this point I only have, like, 24 of the characters unlocked. But still a pretty sizable amount. Of course, like most of the new characters I have been unlocking recently through the wish system, most of them have been characters from either Inazuma or Fontaine, which is another one of the later areas in the game. And I currently don't have the means for being able to level up those characters further with some of the area-exclusive drops that they require. But at some point soon, I would definitely like to... there, but we should be good. Yeah, sometime soon, I would definitely like to try to move on to those areas, progress the story some more. I don't know, I've just been kind of focusing more on just trying to level up my characters at the moment. And for the most part, it's been going pretty well. Alright, but with that said, I actually want to take a break from Genshin Impact for the next couple of weeks, because very recently a game I've been very excited for has come out on the Switch, and that is Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition. Been really excited for that one since it was announced, and definitely been having a blast with it so far, as that game had recently released, like, last week. But yeah, definitely have a history with this game, because back in the day, I actually did get the original... Whoa. I actually did get the original Xenoblade Chronicles X on the Wii U. And for whatever reason, I just put the game down and then never played it again, which is okay. But since then, I have definitely wanted to go back to it at some point. If only I would be properly motivated, like by certain content creators I follow. Could maybe do a let's play of it, hintity hint hint. But that never happened. And yeah, with the eventual reveal that the game was being remade for the Switch, I obviously had to jump on that version of the game. Especially because at this point I have played all the other Xenoblade games that are on the Switch. I obviously grabbed Xenoblade Chronicles 1 Definitive Edition when that was released. I eventually grabbed Xenoblade Chronicles 2 a couple years ago and managed to get that game. Certainly better than I thought it would be, especially given some of the drama that happened before that game's release. And then I also had a really fun time with Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Like, my god, what a conclusion for this series that was. Really enjoyed just, in general, the Xenoblade Chronicles series is so flippin' good. And I am definitely very excited to finally see the ending of Chronicles X. And especially get into the new Definitive Edition content. Because I haven't really heard anything about what the new content is going to entail. But I have heard some rumors that it may tie into some things with the previous Xenoblade games. Which will certainly be very fascinating by a lore standpoint. And just the way the Xenoblade games all connect together, I felt was very interesting. Especially with Xenoblade 3 and its DLC, how it really connects all of the different games together. And there's a few hints that Xenoblade X would eventually be connected in there somewhat. Like, I've always held the opinion that Xenoblade X takes place in an alternate timeline from the events of the main Xenoblade games. Which obviously you can tell because they are very different visually, just in terms of general tone. They feel very distinct from Xenoblade X. But yeah, I'm just really excited to get more into this game and getting to finally get to see this content that I have eluded for so long. I mean, right now I've been doing pretty good. Managed to complete Chapter 3 in the game, which is obviously the chapter that introduces everyone's favorite character, Tatsu. And I've been steadily working on just trying to raise up my characters, complete whatever side quests I can. But I'm definitely feeling like I'll probably be ready to get started on the next main chapter. Definitely one of those adventures where the side content, you're putting more time into the side content than the actual main story. Which, for a game as massive as X is perfectly fine, I feel. It's kind of like the difference between Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. Where those are two games where obviously, for one of them, the side content is a lot more important than the main story. But I'm gonna move away from that for a little bit, because our Whiskers learn a new attack, and a darn good one. Quick Attack. It's much stronger than Tackle, and it also is a guaranteed first strike, which will be really good for us. So what that means is that certain attacks can have different priority. So some attacks are guaranteed to go first in turn order, while other ones are guaranteed to go last, which is fairly interesting and definitely adds a lot more strategy to the games and the overall experience. Something else that I think is Just interesting with the speed stat I wanted to mention. Obviously, the different stats have different functions for battle. When it comes to the speed stat, it determines the turn order, so which Pokemon will be able to act in battle before the other ones. And if two Pokemon have the exact same speed, then the game decides which one will go first by just flipping a coin, basically. It's kind of interesting just analyzing how all of these games work, because obviously a lot of effort has to go into making these games try to be as balanced as possible, make sure all the mechanics work out right. And I don't know, just kind of thinking about the overall trajectory of the Pokemon series over the last couple of years. And just how the last couple of generations have definitely changed the overall feel of the games to make them a lot more beginner-friendly and also make it much more accessible to try to enter the competitive scene with a lot of the different mechanics that lay into the whole competitive scene. That's definitely something that I feel is worth bringing up every now and then. Alright, so now that we've gotten our team trained up here, it's about time that we go get ourselves one other encounter before we head off into the next major area we're going to see here. Because depending on how things go, I'm not really expecting the next Pokemon we encounter to be really amazing for what we're going to be doing, but it could help. Like, obviously the big goal here is we're going to need Bulbo for one of the big battles that we're eventually going to see here. But we want to be prepared for that and make sure our team is as optimally leveled as possible, which we'll work on. But yeah, we can actually go here to Route 22, and there's a patch of grass over here. A little warning if you're starting out in Nuzlocke Run yourself, do not go past this patch of grass because you will engage in a boss battle against your rival. And if you're not prepared, that can be nasty. But anyway, we got ourselves a new encounter here. Mankey! This is a very fast and strong fighting type Pokemon, which is a type of Pokemon that obviously excels more in combat. These ones are going to be quite interesting if we can catch this monkey. Very much like it. There we go, we got you. Alright, so got ourselves a female monkey. Mankey, the pig monkey Pokemon. Light and agile on its feet and ferocious in temperament. When angered, it flies into an uncontrollable frenzy. Alright, I kind of have a name in mind for you. So I'm a very big Dragon Ball fan, and one of the more recent Dragon Ball series actually introduced some pretty interesting female Saiyan characters. So I thought it would be fitting to name you Khalifa, after one of those set characters. Yeah, what's going on? Where am I? Hello there, Khalifa. Welcome to the team. I'm hoping that you're going to be able to be pretty good for us. Yeah, whatever. Can we get some action here? Really need to get stronger if I'm going to win that tournament of power. Wait, what? I think she's delirious. Yeah, I think so too, Bulbo. Don't worry about it. Don't worry, Khalifa. We'll definitely get you trained up. Right! Awesome! Hey, where's Kale? She was training with me and Kaba earlier. Don't worry, I'm sure we'll eventually find them. But for now, let's get you healed up, because you did take a little bit of a hit back there. Yeah, that rat you had there is surprisingly pretty strong. No, maybe you could serve as a good training buddy for me.
I don't really know about that.
Alright, settle down. Alright, so Khalifa here. So fighting type, you're definitely going to be pretty darn useful to us. So back when I did my streams for Leaf Green, I actually used a Mankey on my team. and they were pretty darn good. I eventually dropped them for another Pokemon later on. But yeah, this is definitely a good addition to our team. Fighting types are definitely very helpful, especially in this game, because a lot of NPCs will use normal type Pokemon, and fighting types are really good against fighting normal Pokemon. So for the time being, we're just going to train you up now. Yeah, this is kind of the running theme of this whole stream here, just slowly training up our Pokemon so that they're good for some of the later battles. But we definitely want to be careful with Khalifa, because the Mankey they're very strong Pokemon, but not so much when it comes to bulk. So you are not going to be able to take hits very well compared to the other members of our team. And I definitely want to watch out for that. I'm not going to handle anything these birds can throw at me. Don't worry, we got to be cautious here. Just relying on your allies for now will be a good way to get everybody trained up. And once I feel like we're all prepared, we can begin heading into the next main area of the adventure, which should be fairly interesting for us when we eventually get there. But yeah, I definitely want to train up Khalifa here, because there's a certain move that I want to get in her level up moveset that is going to make battling with her very, very helpful for us in these areas. Now, it's going to take a little while to train you, because you are lower level than our other Pokemon, and so fighting here is definitely going to be a bit tricky. Alright, this one's level 2. You should have a decent time with this. Alright! Time to cut loose! Yeah, emphasis on the cut, considering you have Scratch. But it's all good. You should be able to handle a couple of the small fry as we just raise you up. Alright, so what's some other stuff that we can talk about here? So pretty recently, kind of going and back into what I was saying about content creators and Nuzlocke runs. So very recently, a channel I follow recently posted a video of them going through a Pokemon X Nuzlocke. And that was definitely a pretty fun video to check out. Just, I've been following their content for a while, and the stuff they have been putting out's been pretty fun. Like, obviously, I got into them for their Nuzlocke content. That's basically the whole theme of it, the videos, is a guy introducing his girlfriend to the Pokemon series by having her take on Nuzlocke challenges of the various games. And they actually started off with Pokemon FireRed and Leaf Green, which was a pretty nice choice for the first game. And it's been very fun getting to see her go through these games and growing better as a player over the course of her journey through the various games. And the very recent video they put out definitely showed that off. Yeah, they were going through Pokemon X, and she did really good through the run. And I was just very impressed with the team that she managed to build, given the options available to her in the Kalos region. So yeah, it was definitely a very fun time, and I'm definitely looking forward to the next video that gets posted from that channel, whenever that happens. Okay, should be good to finish this one off. It's level 4, but gives us some good experience. And I'm kind of thinking of what else we can talk about as we're just training up our team. Yeah, that's definitely going to be a lot slower paced compared to some of our other runs. But that's just kind of what we got to do when we're doing a Nuzlocke run. We have to be careful. And especially in the early game, this is where things are the most challenging, I feel. Because our options are so limited, and you need to make sure that your team is adequately prepared for the threats ahead. And all you can do really is just raise your Pokemon's levels, see what moves they get. And obviously, based on which starter that you choose, this area could definitely shift in terms of difficulty. Because if you pick Charmander, then you'll be able to get through the next area here pretty easily with its fire-type attacks. But consequently, there's a boss coming up that Charmander isn't really the best at fighting for a few reasons. But we should be pretty good here. Given our current team lineup, just need to do some training, get our levels up, and we'll be good for the road ahead. So I do want to kind of reference the fact that Khalifa here is a careful nature, so that is also a special defense increasing nature. Why am I getting all these Pokemon with high special defense? I don't know. Oh, man. Alright, just focus on the training again. Oh boy, critical hits. That was nasty. Okay, definitely know we outspeed you, so just go for the scratch and finish you. Oh man, that was pretty startling. And I'm really hoping we're able to get the move that I am hoping for in the next level. So I actually have a guide that shows all the level up movesets of all the Pokemon in the Generation 3 games. So I could be using that to give me an idea on what level I need to be to learn certain attacks. But it's like all the way on the other side of the room, and I don't want to get up and grab it. So we're just going to keep training our Pokemon and see what we get. Still feel like we're making pretty adequate time here. We're almost at the hour-and-a-half point, and our team is already looking pretty good so far. Still got quite a ways to go before we're ready for the next big boss coming up. But, you know, we're making progress. Every battle and every experience point will get us stronger. Alright, there we go. Khalifa now learned Low Kick. So this is definitely the attack that I wanted to get for you. So Low Kick here. This is a fighting type attack that deals damage based on how heavy the opponent is. So in some aspects, it's not as reliable as Scratch for damage, but being a fighting type attack, it's going to make training here so much easier for us. So obviously, Pokemon have different types, and those typings can affect how they perform against other Pokemon in battle. So in this instance, we're fighting a Pidgey. This thing is a normal flying type. And fighting would normally be super effective against normal, but because it is flying, which fighting type attacks don't do well against, that cancels them out and the attack would do neutral damage. Consequently, if we were to fight this Rattata here, we can have Khalifa go for Low Kick, and this deals super effective damage. So yeah, anytime you have a type advantage against your opponent, if an attack is able to do super effective damage against one of their types, that gives them a ×2 bonus to their damage. And depending on the opponent's typing, you could really rack up the damage. So if you're able to strike an opponent who has two types that are both weak to whatever attack you're using, then you will do ×4 damage instead of ×2. So yeah, being able to know which types are most effective against the Pokemon you're facing is really integral to having high success in a Nuzlocke run. And obviously, there are some types that can have bad... they can just have a bad matchup against the opponent. Like, you obviously don't want to send out a Pokemon that is going to take a lot of damage from whatever opponent you're sending out. But consequently, if you send out a Pokemon who is able to resist damage from an opponent, so if you're able to take a hit that is not good against whatever attack your opponent... Well, the opponent's attack doesn't do good against whatever type of Pokemon you're using. It does not very effective damage. And that will cut the power of the attack in half. So being able to utilize both your super effective hits while also being considerate of which Pokemon will take not very effective damage from certain opponents is obviously very good. Alright, we got everyone but Bulbo up to level 7 now, so I think we are pretty good to go forward here. Alright, we definitely spent a lot of time training these Pokemon up, but we should be good to go. Let's just heal the center, and we should be good to move on. Alright, before we go forward, I want to quickly check our items. Probably a good idea to buy some more antidotes going forward, because I know what we're eventually going to face in the next area. So it's hinted at by one of the NPCs here in town. Just gonna stock up on a few more items. And I don't think we're gonna need any more potions. We'll buy 2 more Pokeballs, just to make sure we have those handy. And then we don't need to worry about Paralyze Heal. Actually, there is one Pokemon in the area ahead that can paralyze us, but I'm not too worried about it. It's a pretty rare encounter, too. It's not guaranteed we're going to see it, but my god, it would be nice if we did. But anyway, we're going to head up to Route 2. Because we head past this area, we can move over here. Also, you can obviously see there's some items over here, but there is a tree blocking the way. We can't cut it down. Ugh. What are we gonna do about these trees? Rattata may be small, but don't underestimate its wicked bite. Caught one already? Yes, I have. She's pretty good. You go into Viridian Forest, it's a natural maze in there. Careful you don't get lost. So yep, we are now gonna head into Viridian Forest. This is our first instance of a dungeon here. Trainer tips, weaken Pokemon before attempting capture. When healthy, they may escape. I came here with some friends to catch some bug Pokemon. They're all itching to get into some Pokemon battles. So dungeons here. You're not going to have a quick and easy way to get back into town to heal up your Pokemon. Just got to get through this area, making sure to keep your Pokemon as healthy as possible. You are going to have to deal with a lot of Pokemon battles in this area, both from the wilds and from trainers. Such as this little thing here, Weedle. Wow, almost killed another Pokemon, Whiskers. Really. Alright, so Weedle here is an example of a bug Pokemon. Bug Pokemon are usually classified as a Pokemon that typically doesn't really have the best stats, but they level up and evolve very quickly. And that can be very beneficial to us in this run. So Weedle here, it's a hairy bug, often found in forests and grasslands, is a sharp, toxic barb of around 2 inches on top of its head. Alright, so Weedle here, you can obviously be a bit of a pain, but raising you shouldn't be too bad, all things considered. But now we got to name our Weedle here. It's obviously a creature associated with poison. It's also an insect, so it gives us quite a lot of potential for names. Okay, I have an idea in mind. We're gonna call you Barbie. Yes, like the doll. Wow, another Pokemon you reduced to 1 HP. And you are calm. That's actually not a very good nature, so we're probably not gonna be using you. So, that nature is not very good for you. So, calm? Once again, it's a special defense raising nature, but it also lowers a Pokemon's attack. So Barbie here is not going to be hitting as hard as other Weedle. So we're probably not going to be using you in this run. Kind of a shame. You would be good, and I do have a lot of attachment to this particular line of Pokemon. But yeah, considering you don't have a really good nature, we're not going to be using you. That's okay, because we can still use your relatives as fodder. Just going to be dealing with all the Pokemon we can find around here. And also, be careful. Yeah, like I said, Bug-type Pokemon tend to have lower stats compared to most other Pokemon. So you don't need to worry too much about taking damage from these things here. But you do want to worry about their other effects. Because Weedle have a very nasty thing they can do with their Poison Sting, in that they can, like, poison on opponents. And let me tell you, at this point in the series, poison is really bad in Nuzlocke runs. Because if your Pokemon is walking on the field while they're poisoned, then they will take damage for every 4 steps. And when your Pokemon gets to 1 HP, then the next 4 steps will indeed kill it. So yeah, you got to be cautious when going through this area when you're poisoned. Pick up antidotes at the store to be able to cure poison, and you should be good. I was throwing Pokeballs to catch Pokemon and I ran out. That's why you can never have too many Pokeballs. Good advice there, young man. So over here, we can also encounter Caterpie. So this is the other Caterpillar Pokemon that was hinted at before, the one that doesn't have any poison. Unlike Weedle, which is a bug poison type, Caterpie is purely a bug type. But eventually, it will become a bug flying type. It's definitely a Pokemon I have a lot of attachment to, especially from the Pokemon anime, putting a lot of emphasis on Butterfree early on, by having that be one of Ash's main team members. Alright, Whisker's taken a couple hits here, so let's switch into Rosie. Hey, you have Pokemon! Come on, let's battle them! It's obviously here in Viridian Forest. The bulk of the Pokemon you're going to be encountering here, both in the wild and from trainers, are going to be bug types. So this is an area where Charmander really excels in if you manage to pick that as your starter. Because its fire attacks can just mow down everything in your path. And when I played Leaf Green, I actually did choose to use Charmander as my starter. And yeah, it went about as well as you would expect for this area. Oh boy, Rosie's poisoned now, so we definitely need to worry here. now that we got to face an opponent who uses more than one Pokemon, this is showing off the dangers of playing in set mode. So, between the different battle modes, if you're playing in Switch, and then after you knock out an opponent and they still have one more Pokemon to use in battle, the game will ask if you would like to switch out, while also telling you the species of the Pokemon your opponent is going to be using. So it gives you an option to quickly switch on over to a Pokemon who will be really effective against that particular opponent. Set mode, on the other hand, removes that as an option, just immediately sending out the next Pokemon your opponent is going to use. And that makes things a lot more difficult here, so that we definitely have to strategize a lot more about which options we are going to use in this area. Yep, this is why I want to pick up antidotes, so that we can just quickly heal our Pokemon. And now we'll give Rosie a break here and switch in Khalifa. So not expecting Khalifa to be too useful in this area because bug types are resistant to fighting type attacks. But she should still be pretty decent in this area because she has some high attack power. Anyway, we're fighting Bug Catcher Doug, which means we're fighting the Nostalgia Critic. Alright, Khalifa, you should be pretty good here. So, the other strategy that these bug Pokemon can do, besides their main attacks, they also have String Shot, which can lower the speed of your Pokemon, thus making it so that they attack last in the turn order. That could definitely be something to mess with your strategies, but it's nothing we really need to worry about here. Ow. Okay, we took a critical hit from that Poison Sting, but, you know, could have been worse. Could have been a critical hit from a Pokemon actually worth a damn. Sorry, I don't mean to be dunking too hard on these early game Pokemon here. But yeah, when you kind of look at these games from trying to pick the best Pokemon you can use in order to finish the game, and especially in these challenge runs, some of these Pokemon aren't as appealing as some of the other options. Especially for Weedle and Caterpie. I mean, Caterpie definitely has some good qualities. It gets a lot of good status moves early on. But for Weedle, it's more of an offensive Pokemon, and its offensive options early on really aren't all that good. Like, its best attacking move for a lot of levels is going to be Poison Sting, and it doesn't get much better until way later on. So definitely when you're thinking about which Pokemon you want to use in these challenge runs, you definitely need to be considerate of the long time investment that you'll be wanting to put into these Pokemon, because some will perform better than others in a lot of circumstances. Yeah, right now, I'm not too worried about what we are doing right now because we got a Kakuna here. It's actually the evolution of Weedle, and this thing is really no danger for us because all this thing has is Harden. That's the only attack this thing gets by level up. And of course, every trainer you face, their Kakuna will also only be able to Harden. Huh? I ran out of Pokemon! So that makes him just an easy source of experience points if you just want to get those. Yep, our team is looking pretty good here. Just gonna switch Bulbo in now so that he can get some experience. Man, it's about time. I've just been itching to get in some action here. Alright, we grabbed an antidote. That'll be pretty good. And if we look around here, another trainer here. I might be little, but I won't like it if you go easy on me. Wouldn't have it any other way because I prefer to have some challenge in my runs, even if I do like to just steamroll through the games with my favorite Pokemon, you know? But on the other hand, it's always good to receive a bit of a challenge, as that will make you a better player. Yeah, I'm just going to set up a Leech Seed on this Caterpie to gradually lower its health after every turn, which is very helpful because it also will heal us if we actually take damage against this thing. Alright, Bulbo, you can just go ahead and tackle. Alright! See, I'm thinking back to my very first Pokemon comic when I was in this area of the game. Because my first encounter I got in this area was a Metapod, which is the evolution of Caterpie. And much like Kakuna, the only move Metapod has is Harden. And so that basically meant that that Pokemon couldn't do anything until it eventually evolved. It actually led to a very funny moment that I illustrated in the comic, where it showed a bunch of my Pokemon training against a lot of the other Pokemon in the area. And then it would cut to my Metapod having a battle against a Kakuna. But obviously the only attack those Pokemon can use is Harden. So they just use Harden over and over to try and get the edge on each other, only to realize they're not actually doing any damage to each other. So yeah, that was just a very funny visual. Definitely was. I don't know, just thinking back on that moment, it was definitely a very fun addition I had to that portion of the comic very early on when there wasn't too much going on plot-wise. Yeah, it was a very fun time. Man, this battle's just been so uneventful, hasn't it? Alright, Bulbo should be getting a level up here. Gets you to level 9. And it doesn't get you anything, but we are moving closer to getting you ready for the upcoming battle ahead, which I'm very excited for. Okay, for this next one, let's give Whiskers a shot at this next one. I'm gonna give you a potion to heal you up. We have a lot of potions, so we shouldn't have to worry too much about depleting our resources here. Do want to be careful of poison. Thankfully, because Bulbo is a poison type himself, if we're up against a Weedle and I just don't want to risk my Pokemon getting poisoned, I can just switch on over to Bulbo and he can take the attack for my other team members. Oh sure, utilizing me like this? You know that Pokemon evolve? Yes I do, good sir. Sadly, we're not going to see any evolutions in this session, most likely. And this guy's got himself a Metapod. Kind of showing off one of the potential encounters you can also have in this area. Now, there is one other Pokemon that you're able to catch here in Viridian Forest. It's much rarer than the bugs that you can encounter here, but you are capable of finding Pikachu in this forest. And obviously, Pikachu being the mascot of the entire Pokemon series is a pretty big deal. In terms of battle, yeah, it's pretty good. It's a very fast electric-type Pokemon. It gets some pretty helpful status moves in the form of Thunder Wave, which can paralyze opponents. And its electric-type attacks can be really effective against any water or flying-type Pokemon you may encounter. So, yeah, that's always something to consider with that. Again, it's a very rare encounter in this area, so you're likely not going to catch a Pikachu in a Nuzlocke run. But it's definitely well worth it. Just being the mascot of the entire series, and just being a decent Pokemon in general, it's very much worth it. Alright, just gonna let Whiskers soak up some free experience in this Metapod. And I think we want to save our quick attacks, so let's switch over to Tackle. And of course we miss. Thank you for that. Alright, managed to beat Charlie there.
Oh, I lost!
Okay. Managed to get another level up on you. So how about we go to Khalifa here. Let's heal you up, and we should be good to go. Alright, so kind of thinking of some other things I want to talk about as we're going through this area. So pretty recently, a trailer was released by this channel called Glitch, which is all about various indie animation projects. And a lot of them I quite enjoyed, especially the Amazing Digital Circus. But very recently, they posted a trailer for a new animation that they're working on called the Gaslight District. And from the trailer, just the animation style looked really cool. So I'm really excited to see what they do with that show. As well as that one other show that they're developing with the creator of the Owl House, because I feel like that is also going to be really cool.
Hey, wait up! What's the hurry? Why the rush?
Alright, so got one more battle here in the forest. I'm not kidding, this bug catcher here is the last trainer in Viridian Forest. So I'll just take you out like all the other Pokemon we have faced so far. Oh boy, Khalifa's poisoned. Yeah, that's not very good, but we have plenty of health, so we should be fine. Like I said before, if we had a Charmander, we would get through this area very easily. There's also another Pokemon you can catch around here that is really good for dealing with the bug types, but we'll talk about that one later. Come on, we almost got it. Considering how far away the next town is, can we get through this area without healing Khalifa's poison? That is the question. Alright, at the very least we managed to beat this trainer. So we have the path forward available to us. But how easily are we going to get through here, considering Khalifa's current condition? Okay, you have 15 HP, so we just gotta be careful and counter steps. 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4... Oh boy, we just managed to reach the Pokemon Center. Woo! That could have been real bad for us. I mean, it wasn't going to be bad because we had antidotes, but, you know, just want to be careful, you know? Okay, so before we call this session here, so I want to go into our PC just to show this off. This is where we're able to store Pokemon in between battles. We have 14 boxes, each one being able to hold, I believe, 30 Pokemon. So we have a lot of different space to store our Pokemon in. Barbie, I know I never used you in battle, but come on. You are definitely not going to be endgame material here. But we shall name our box here for our Pokemon that will be joining our roster in the future. This shall be the reserves box. Be a nice little forest grove for all the Pokemon to relax in. And then we need to be prepared for the inevitable. Hopefully this one doesn't get crowded. Alright, with that taken care of, we managed to reach a new town. Our Pokemon team is looking pretty good here compared to how things were before. So yeah, our team's looking pretty good. We should be able to have a pretty easy time with the next couple of challenges ahead. But with that said, in between sessions, I'm definitely going to be doing a bit more training to make sure our team is optimally prepared for the threats we're going to see ahead. So with that said, thank you for checking out this stream. If you what am I trying to say here? Just, yeah, because ending things off here is going to be different from how things were on Twitch. So yeah, if you enjoyed this Pokemon FireRed stream, I would very appreciate it if you would hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for new videos in the future. So I definitely like to do a lot more Pokemon streams, and eventually we'll be uploading all of my older content from Twitch over here as well. So that should be fun to get to experience eventually. So with all that said, thank you for being a part of this series, which I hope goes very well. Next time, we'll be taking on the challenges here in Pewter City, and then moving on with our Pokemon Nuzlocke journey. Until next time, have a good day,